All right, well, good morning, everybody, and thank you for coming out this Friday morning. Really excited to see you here. Welcome to Creative Mornings Winnipeg. My name is Kelly Thibodeau. I'm the MC for this morning's event. I'm also the principal and founder at Squarely Social and a sponsor here with Creative Mornings. I want to start by acknowledging that we're joining you from Treaty 1 territory, the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the homeland of the Red River Métis. I also acknowledge that the water in Winnipeg comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation, and the electricity we enjoy comes from Treaty 5 territory. I also want to acknowledge that we are about to welcome the National Pride event to Winnipeg in the next few weeks. It's a time of celebration of diversity, and it is also important to recognize that the Pride movement started and remains a protest movement to bring attention to the very real discrimination and oppression that are experienced by people who express and live diverse sexual and gender identities. And we hope that you will take in some of the Pride events that are coming up in June. I'm going to take a bit of a breath. You will see our Creative Mornings Winnipeg photographer, Gabrielle Touchette, over here, and our videographer, Mayo Sowemimo, back in the corner, who are going to be moving around the space and capturing some footage of today's event, and we're grateful for their support. And for those who are in the room with me, the guest Wi-Fi is, I didn't find that out, so stay off your phones, enjoy the in-person event. Unless you'd like to share in social, then we absolutely would love you to do that. The bathrooms are located at the back of the room, down the right, just around the corner. And you can fill your water bottle at the station in the back. There are a few cups there if you're like me and left your water bottle in the car this morning. For people who are, we are wearing teal lanyards, people in the Creative Mornings Steering Committee, and we are the volunteers for this session. Stop laughing. So if you have any questions about Creative Mornings, if you're feeling a calling to be part of our group, we would absolutely love to have you. And to give you a quick rundown of today's event, we will start today's program with a welcome from our venue partner, New Media Manitoba. Then you will meet our special guest artist, and then you'll be invited to talk to your neighbors about the theme of now. We will then invite you back to the main stage or in our room here together to hear from today's speaker, Kerri Twigg, who's joining us today. Yay. So we are currently gathered at New Media Manitoba, which has been a partner for Creative Mornings Winnipeg since the very beginning. And we're thankful for their support and especially their technical leadership, not only today, but at all of our events. Thank you so much. And now I'm pleased to welcome Jonathan Lay from New Media Manitoba, our venue host today, to share why they have partnered with Creative Mornings. Jonathan.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. I'm so happy to see people here. New Media Manitoba moved into this space just as the pandemic kind of was kicking off. So this is like literally the first event we've had with grown-up people. So I'm so encouraged and so happy that everything is working properly. So New Media Manitoba is a provincially and federally funded sector council that works with the interactive industries here in the province of Manitoba, and our mandate is to help them grow and thrive. And there's so many exciting things happening in our world right now. I would encourage you to check out our website and see what we're up to. We've got summer camps coming up for kids and video games, so those will all be announced soon. So once again, thank you for coming and welcome.
Great. So before we continue today, please also remember to join us on Friday, June 17th for an in-person event on the global theme of wilderness with our speaker, me. The title, thank you. The title of my talk is Braving Your Wilderness as a Creative Entrepreneur, a Field Guide. I'm a technical writer turned digital communicator turned entrepreneur and the founder of Squarely Social. I help people use online marketing to reach and connect with their audiences through social media strategies, workshops, and one-on-one coaching. And as a content strategist, facilitator, and instructor with over 25 years of experience in corporate and post-secondary settings, this is probably the first time I've read my own bio out loud to an audience, but here we go. Figured it'd be a little bit of humor. Yes. So, is this at the beginning, or do I need to keep? Okay, very good. All right, thank you. So, back to all about me. So, I believe that people want to engage with companies that show the relationship means as much as the transaction, and that curiosity, empathy, and integrity make you stand out in today's marketplace. I've been on LinkedIn since 2006, and I've had too many browser tabs open ever since. So I would love for you to join me next month. Tickets are available right now on the Creative Mornings Winnipeg website. So after we're finished today, don't forget to register after the event. And before we dive in, we also want to say thank you to our global and local partners featured here. Without them, we wouldn't get to do this fabulous work in building a community of creativity in Winnipeg. And first, we are very pleased to announce that we have a new partner. Is it on here? I don't think it's on here. At the Exchange District Biz. And when we started Creative Mornings Winnipeg, we recognized the importance of the Exchange District of one of the main cultural and creative neighborhoods in the city. We've made a commitment to host our events at venues in the Exchange, and we are so pleased that the Exchange District Biz has come on as a key partner to help us realize this vision. Please join me in thanking David and his team for their support. That's our steering committee. Oh, this is. Okay. All right. And thank you, yes, to our local partners. You can see their awesome logos on the screen right now. To our Creative Mornings Winnipeg Steering Committee, thank you for your hard work in putting together these events every month and for our second in-person event. Yes, congratulations. And special thanks for the extra effort to host our second in-person event here at New Media Manitoba. So thanks, everybody. And now it's time to celebrate Winnipeg's amazing creative talent. And for those of you who have been attending our Creative Mornings Winnipeg events, you'll know that one of the key parts of our events has been music. But we also know that we have other means of creative expression that we want to celebrate at our events. As a result, we're going to start introducing other Winnipeg creatives into our events, and we're thrilled to be expanding our creative reach to highlight Winnipeg's talent in areas like art, design, dance, theater, and other creative forms of expression. So today we are thrilled to welcome the visual artist Pink Panda, a street artist and painter from Winnipeg and working in Treaty 1 territory. They aspire to create visual works that encourage one to explore the emotions and experiences of thought and feeling that arise in the present moment, which is wonderfully aligned with our exploration of the Creative Mornings global theme of now today. Through the use of vibrant colorscapes and intricate line work, Pink Panda hopes to connect us all through their art. They enjoy working with chalk, acrylics, spray paint, and UV reactive paints on a variety of surfaces. Exploring these mediums allows the artist to create a variety of aesthetics for the viewer's senses to absorb. Urban art, music, and cartoons have always been a strong influence and inspiration for Pink Panda. When not painting murals or selling their art at various events, they spend the spring and summer months longboarding and leaving chalk drawings to be found around the city or performing live painting pop-up installations. The leaving of temporary art is something significant for Pink Panda, as it helps keep their mantra, be in the moment, in focus, and practice letting go. Pink Panda has worked and collaborated with clients including Full Bloom, 431 Urban Streetwear, Expert Electric, Inspire Community Outreach, Macanta Design Build Inc., Transcona Biz, Open Outline, Studio Central Artbeat Studio, Scam Skate, BGC Winnipeg, and the Children's Hospital Foundation of Manitoba. So please share a warm Creative Mornings Winnipeg welcome to Pink Panda.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Kat, but many people know me as Pink Panda as my alias. My pronouns are they, she, and I am a local artist as well as a painter who works in a variety of mediums, including acrylics. I'm sorry, I just want to make sure. Is it just the arrow to move?
Just the arrow, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Here's one of my earlier pieces of my monster characters. They're my original creatures that kind of come out through my mind. So you'll see them throughout a lot of my pieces. I also work with spray paint as well as UV reactive paint. This was a recent project I did for a client where I had to transform this very old Ford van, camper van. And so this was all done with spray paint, top to bottom. I had to prep this vehicle as well as learn how to, I guess, use a lot of different things to achieve this look. What I didn't include was how it looks under the black light, as the client wanted to know, wanted to see how it would look both daylight as well as under UV light. And then here's another example of, again, a skate decks that I also do custom decks. And there's a under the regular light and under UV light. And this one is called Transition. And then there's a sample of my chalk work, again, with my original characters. I draw inspiration from music, cartoons, and urban art. These are forms of expression for me that carry a lot of energy and movement. Their strong influence is most noticeable in my monster characters, like I had mentioned, with their vivid colors and intricate lines. A great example here is, anyone is familiar, this is a mural I did in Transcona on the Scouts Hall. It's 620 square feet, so it's about 60 feet wide by 12 feet high. I finished this all with spray paint, and it was just under, I think it was about 10 days and 5 hours each day, so on my own. This was definitely a fun challenge, and the title of this piece is called Everything Will Be Okay. And you can see the end of one of my creatures is giving a thumbs up. What was interesting about this piece is that I started on both either ends, and then I was getting a little frustrated, okay, I can't really see this, I have a lot to do. So I ended up coloring in, filling in, and then got to the center. So yeah, that was a fun one. Also, on the other side, which initially I was supposed to paint the other side of the wall, but it was literally changed last minute from the sketch that I was gonna do the side with a window. And I was wondering, how am I going to incorporate this? And I decided to make it into a mouth. So I think it worked out. Next one. My style has evolved quite a bit over the last few years. And as I worked more with abstract shapes and forms that introduced fluid movement, however, the way I approached my art in the process of using my art as a tool for self-care and its focus on staying in the present moment has remained relatively unchanged. So these two pieces were, I finished this in 2019 at my first solo show called The Pandimensional. And this is a perfect example of me using a lot of constant flowing lines and vivid colors. Yeah, the bird was pretty much no reference. So that was fun to just kind of go with my line work, a lot of continuous lines there. Chalk. So maybe I should bring this down just because I find that it's there you go. Chalk is one of my favorite mediums to practice because it cannot be erased easily. And basically, you live with your choices. You have to deal with whatever comes along. So I think this is a great practice for life in this way. You're working really quickly and just going in the flow. And it makes it fun, and the temporary nature of the chalk means that it's easier to be loose with your expectations and just let go. I've had various people who've came and watched me as I was painting these chalk drawings. I leave them all around the city, whether it's on bike paths are actually my favorite surface, just because it's usually a darker surface, but it takes a chalk really nicely. And usually I just use the really cheap Crayola ones, but sometimes I have these higher end ones called street sticks, which I'm not sure if I can find them here anymore, and they have a more vivid colors. And again, here are my monsters that are saying hi. So by using my artistic process to stay present, as I work through things coming and going in my mind, I am better able to handle some of the more difficult aspects of my mental health. I find that my mind tends to wander into the past or future and then fixate and spiral into deep negative states of mind. Creating art that is focused on staying present with the feelings and emotions associated with those thoughts, but not being swept away by them, becomes a way for me to heal and unlearn that tendency in self-compassionate way. This is an example of actually one of my recent pieces, which I'll talk about later about my show. You can see this one that will be featured, or that is featured at the Creator Gallery right now. So this is the foundation of my second solo show titled The Vivid Truth. It basically explores the relationship between expectation versus reality and being present here and now in the context of self-discovery, healing, and growth. I won't really talk about too much of the more of the show because it would be awesome if you guys could all come check it out. It started yesterday, but it goes on till June 7th. Basically, shortly after here, I'm going to be heading straight to the Creator Gallery, and I'll be there from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. today. They are located on 125 Adelaide Street on the second floor. I have over 20 new pieces of work, and it'll be a great way for you to showcase basically my process that I've been doing that you can see up close. Also, further details can also be found in the QR code there. Which also includes when I'll be in attendance. And I have to also please note that masks are mandatory in the Gallery of the Creatory. And yes, I just want to say thank you so much for your time. I also want to thank Tom Sparling from Creative Manitoba for having me here, and to all the organizers of these meetings, the meetups for Creative Mornings Winnipeg. Thank you.
Creative Mornings, is it this slide? Okay, all right. Each month, Creative Mornings chapters share a global theme to reflect and contemplate on. And May's theme is now. It is not our task to master the present, but to savor it, to pause, to go still. Feel the air on the back of our necks. Sit in both discomfort and pleasure, and marvel in the radiance of the present moment, so that we may, in the poet William Blake's words, hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour, for all we ever have is now. This month's theme was chosen by the Creative Mornings chapter in Buffalo, New York, and illustrated by Minzin Shin and presented by MailChimp. One of the experiences of being present, being in the now, when we lose track of time, or move into a state of flow. And flow is a state of mind in which a person becomes fully immersed in an activity. Being immersed can be defined as a state of focus in which a person is completely absorbed and engrossed in their work. Not surprisingly, many people find that their creative inspiration is at its highest during a state of flow, or that they find a flow state most often when engaged in creative expression. So for me, when time disappears, I often am actually doing creative work, which surprises me. Sometimes it might be writing my email newsletter, which maybe sounds, I've questioned my own sense of creativity, but what I've come to understand is that we are all creative people. When I'm playing around with graphics in a software package, and I'm not a designer, but I think it's kind of fun, those are the things that make time disappear. Or when I'm on a walk with my dog and just noticing the trees, the birds, and hoping to not see a coyote somewhere in my path. So for your breakout conversation, we invite you to share your own experiences of being in a state of flow. How do you achieve flow? Where do you lose track of time, and where are you fully immersed in an activity? You'll be in your groups for about, I'm going to say 8 minutes, and then we'll bring you back to the main event. And if you're not sure about sharing right now, we invite you to break out of your comfort zone and remember how being engaged in our activities can have a positive impact on others. You never know what impact you might have on somebody else today. So now I'll give you 8 minutes to discuss that. There's some table talkers, chalkboards at your table to inspire your conversation and talk about what now means to you when you're in a state of flow. And we'll keep going. I can tell conversation is in a state of flow. Okay. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a great time. Some of the things that we talked about in our group is how time just disappears when you're in a state of flow. And sometimes group accountability can inspire that state of flow if it doesn't come up immediately. And I'm also pleased to introduce Tom Sparling, Executive Director of Creative Manitoba and a member of our steering committee, to share our Creative Mornings Manifesto and introduce our speaker for today.
Good morning. Thanks, Kelly. This is very strange, being in a room full of people. Excuse me if I'm a little nervous. Creative Mornings has chapters around the world to celebrate, not only celebrate creative talent, but promote an open space to connect with like-minded people. And we have a very powerful manifesto, and we read it at every event, and this is the manifesto. Everyone is creative. A creative life requires bravery, action, honesty, and hard work. We are here to support you, celebrate with you, and encourage you to make the things that you love. We believe in the power of community. We believe in giving a damn. We believe in face-to-face connections, which is kind of cool because we've been doing this virtually for so long. It's great to be here in person. We believe in learning from others. We believe in jazz hands and high fives. We bring people together who are driven by passion and purpose, confident that they will inspire one another, inspire change in neighborhoods and cities around the world. Everyone is welcome. And the Winnipeg chapter has also made a commitment to reflecting diversity and ensuring inclusion in our events. We are located in one of the most diverse communities in North America, and we are as inclusive as we are creative, and we will be creative in order to achieve inclusion. We believe in the value of diversity of perspectives, audiences, and industries as we create safe events to debate and discuss what it means to be creative. We will celebrate multiple approaches and points of view, and we will be mindful and purposeful in building a culture where these differences are not only valued but celebrated. That's the manifesto, and I'm excited to hear our speaker today. I first met Kerri, it was a long time ago, and she was working at Art City at the time. I think we were at some sort of educational forum, and I helped you put some big banner up on the wall. So it was great. And then Kerri worked for us at Creative Manitoba and created a program and taught a course on community arts, community-led arts, and how that could be. And then I've sort of followed her, a lot of it through LinkedIn and watching her videos. And I had to try to, I said, it's been a remarkable, and because it's Kerri, a very exuberant journey. I was thinking, okay, I'm introducing Odo as exuberant. That's got to fit in there somewhere. So Kerri is now the founder of Career Stories, and through mindfulness and storytelling coaching, she helps people to use their stories to figure out what makes them awesome and how to express that. It's been 20 years, I guess, that you've been doing this, sharing stories and helping people build confidence and get their dream jobs. And she's written a book, the Career Stories Method, which has been a top seller since its release. And Kerri's been regularly named a top career coach and a LinkedIn top voice. She's taught in theaters, university, and a boathouse. I'm kind of curious about that. So, anyways, that's all I'm going to say. Please come, welcome Kerri Twigg.
Thank you. I think I'll just start with tuning into the now, because I don't want to just talk about it. Let's see if we can contact it. So I'm going to teach you 3 different ways that you can contact now. And the first one is with what we can see. So in our seats, let's take a moment to kind of ground ourselves. You might want to put your feet flat on the floor. If you feel more comfortable standing, absolutely do that. And you can lengthen your back, your spine, the back of your neck. Relax your forehead, the space behind your eyes, the back of your tongue, your jaw, your shoulders. And we're going to do this one with our eyes open. I invite you to look around the room and notice what you are drawn to visually. So what in this room is grabbing your attention? And if you notice something grabs your attention, you can try noting it. Noting is where you acknowledge that you're drawn to something, and then you kind of soak into it for a couple moments, and then see what else catches your eye. We'll just do that for a couple moments. And if you want to say out loud what you're seeing right now, what's catching your eye? I didn't even notice that. Beautiful, bright pink star. Yeah. Oh, a sign behind me. Yeah. Okay, books on the shelf. Yeah, I was paying attention to that. And I'm looking at the contrast of the white pipe and the brown right behind me. Okay, so that's one way of just on a surface level of contacting now. We were all in the moment. Hopefully, if you're bringing most of your concentration to what you could see, we're all in the moment of now. Now, that was at a pretty basic level. And if we're going to use the now, the kind of now that you were talking about, we want to try and see if we can go a little bit deeper. So let's try, same exercise, narrowing our focus to what we can see in the room in which we're in. And when you're looking at an object, notice if there's any motion or change to it while you're looking at it. And if there's none, that's okay, but just notice if something shifts when you put your focus on it. So I'm going to interrupt you there. Did anyone have a change? Notice any change in an object that felt, sometimes did it feel like it maybe got closer or further away? Did it kind of disappear? Did you notice your attention kind of getting bigger? Any notes of that? Yeah, some notes. And if you can detect that today, cool. If you can't detect that today, that's okay. There's skills you can develop to be able to contact that. That is now. That is focusing on something so clearly that you can notice if it is changing, if it is expanding, if it's contracting, if it's staying the same, or if it's doing both at the same time. And being able to contact now is an incredible skill, because so much of the time we spend our time in our minds thinking we're in the now with these thoughts. Often it's replaying things that aren't positive, replaying things that we're either saying to ourselves or that people said to us, or thinking about, I'll be happy when. And none of that, like, so yeah, that's in the now. But if you can choose and intentionally focus on the now of other sense experiences, and even those ones, you can break them apart, you can start to get some of the benefits of happiness. And there's 5 elements. 5 elements of happiness. So often when we think about happiness, we think about probably people like me. So perky, gleeful, enthusiastic. Is that what you said? Exuberant, yeah. And that's a very weird definition of happiness, but actually happiness can be broken into 5 parts. And there's this guy called Shinzen Young who broke it in like a periodic table of happiness. And these are the parts. So if you're able to contact now, you could experience relief. And relief is that if you're someone who's always kind of being mean to yourself, never in the moment, or even in a situation where you don't feel like you can handle it, you have a technique to be able to either look at it head on and break it apart, or you can anchor away and you can experience some relief. The more attention that we give to things that are holding us back, they kind of become solid and heavy, and then we carry them around. And it's like all of us are like walking around with like a big bag of issues. And it's so heavy, right? It's so heavy. And maybe there's a way of having some relief where those things can kind of drop, because we can see what they are. They're just things that show up, expand, contract, maybe both, or stay the same. Second one, fulfillment. So I don't know about you, but a lot of times with fulfillment, it's about not being able to appreciate or feel joy in the moment. And if you're like, I was a super workaholic, it might mean that you work. You complete things, you get things like name top voice and have a best-selling book, and still don't feel happy. Even though we think that external things make us happy, they don't. And so how can you appreciate and have some fulfillment? So when good things happen, you can even soak in them longer. Next element of happiness, self-understanding. So understanding ourselves at a surface, like psychological level, but also as we go deep. If you do the now practices quite deep, you can kind of know yourself as like at a primordial level, which is a really cool way to move around the world, thinking that you actually are just born perfect and you don't really have to change, you don't have to work in order to show that you have value. You can just being is okay. Can learn mastery, so how to perform in a way that feels masterful to you, and you can connect with other people. So if you're doing now, you can build these skills towards happiness. How, Kerri? So you're going to develop 3 skills. Concentration, so the ability to concentrate on what you want to concentrate, when you want to concentrate on it. So when you were paying attention to see, you had concentration. You were like, I'm just going to focus on the visual things in my room. Sensory clarity, that you're aware of what sensations are happening at any given time. And when you have that, as things come at you, it's not that you don't have a reaction, but maybe your reaction is a little bit softer or a little bit more fluid. And the last one is equanimity, which means not spending most of your time replaying things or thinking about the future, but being like, it's okay, and the things that are coming at me now, I can handle. Beautiful. So let's try another exercise to try and contact now. What I'd love you to do is bring your attention, and this might be easier with your eyes closed, but bring your attention to the hearing space. So what you can hear in the room in which you're in. And if you are, I think if hearing outside sounds isn't readily accessible, you want to choose the difference between the sound in which you speak to yourself in your head and that other space. So we're interested in that other space. So let's pay attention to the sounds in this room. What do we hear? Anyone want to share what they've heard? Yeah, I think it's like a computer fan. Yeah, what else? What? Projector fan. Anyone else? Floor creaking. Anything else? Yeah, like some white noise. Yeah, I heard someone cough over there. So this fan, who's really hearing it now? Who heard it before? Oh, never mind. You're all enlightened. What am I doing here? So I didn't notice that sound before. And there might be other things. So one thing with here is that we can, it's one way that we might experience, and it's another way that we can tune into the now. Could just be to listen to the sounds that are in the room. If we listen long enough, maybe just even this fan, does it change at all? Can we notice the nowness of it? Yeah, there's sort of like a rhythm, right? There's some like pretty cool things. Okay, so that's your second technique. So you can do see, you can do hear. I'll teach you feel in a moment. I was going to share a little bit about how now helped me. It's just blank. I've done career coaching for a long time, and the basics of career coaching and career development kind of say that if you find ideal work, so using your favorite skills in the ideal environment with people that you like, and you get to have flow, most of the time, you're going to be happy. And I believed that and wrote a book about it and lived it, except the I feel happy part wasn't true. Because if you were to zoom into my brain at the time when I would say like I was, acing it in life, what was going on in my brain was, you're going to become irrelevant. You better come up with a new program. You better make a video. You better show up. And when I would get awards and named things, I'd go, that's great. But that's the last time. And not even able to savor it. And what happened, luckily, is I got really sick. And I got sick before COVID. And I got sick in a way that my doctor said I had to stay in bed all the time. And it sucked because I really liked to do the things that I was doing. So I was teaching at the university. I was going to speak at this amazing conference in Australia. And I really wanted to go to Australia. And I had other local gigs. And I had to cancel all of it. And all I had was me in a bed. And I had to face the question of, who am I when I'm not working? And it's not a question that I wanted to ask, and I definitely didn't want to deal with. And luckily, I was doing mindfulness coaching, or getting trained to be a mindfulness coach at the same time. And I just started to bring in these techniques. And by focusing on the now, so what I could hear, what I could see, how I could feel flow, when I started to experience those in this bed with this mass as I waited for surgery, I felt happy. It was ridiculous because I had all these other things that I thought would make me happy, and I was like, oh, actually it's this. And then when I worked with other people and started to bring mindfulness training into the career coaching, then I noticed that they started to feel happy. They started to feel content. They started to express themselves in a way that they hadn't before. That things that used to hold them back weren't holding them back anymore because they're able to focus on the now. And it's not a quick fix, right? It's like doing these practices 10 minutes a day. So it's kind of quick, but over time, what happens is that your base level of happiness in all those 5 categories starts to change. And you can be in the moment. And you don't really need to grasp or worry or be mean to yourself. And you get to feel, well, the best thing is you get to actually feel this really beautiful, blissful way of being happy. I'm going to teach one last exercise, which is feel. So let's bring our attention to our physical bodies. And the same way that we scan the room for sights, the same way we scan the room for sounds, is the way that we'll scan our body. So just notice any sensations that you're having in your body. And they might be pleasant, unpleasant, doesn't matter. Just notice that there's a sensation. And you might be pulled from one place, like your knee, to your toe, to the back of your neck. But when your attention is on that one space, see if you notice any movement or change. And it's kind of cool to do in the body, but if it's getting bigger, see if you might just allow it to get bigger. And it might be like a bubbling, it might be waves. So can you detect expansion, contraction, both or none in this moment? And if you have thoughts or hearing other sounds, you can let those be in the background. We're just interested in feeling the now in our bodies. Beautiful. So that's all I have to share with you today. I think we're going to do questions and answers if we have time. Yeah. And if you want to share any reports of how that was for you, I'd love it. Thank you for coming. Thanks for being in the now with me. I don't know where I go.
Stay right there. Thank you so much, Kerri. Thank you for being here. And I have to think it's not a coincidence that I didn't know the guest Wi-Fi password, because we're all forced to be in the now, maybe instead of on your phone. So questions for Kerri? Christine?
I always have the first question. Kerri, thank you very much. That was really powerful. I'm wondering, given your career path, and you've had some really interesting career changes and journeys, how has mindfulness shifted your own understanding of your career path, or how you're contributing to the world through your work? And how has that practice also influenced your own approach to creativity in that work?
We start with the easy ones.
Those are 2 TED Talks.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, beautiful. I love it. Okay, so mindfulness in career development. I think the secrets are in those 5 pieces of happiness, so that if people are able to have relief at work, so they're not stressed out, they know how to react to like maybe even a negative other employee. They can feel good about their work. They can tune in and break apart some of the things that hold them back. Then what they can do at work is incredible. Like, I think it's the secret to happy careers. Combined with, ideally, yeah, if you have a great work with great people doing your favorite skills, I think that the 2 of them are the most beautiful. That's what career contentment is. And so for myself, I just try and live in the now, and then notice where the now is and help the now to help me with things that I don't love to do, right? So before a call, right? If I don't want to make a call, I can do a power hit of see out. What do you see in the room? I feel grounded. Okay, go do it, right? So it's a way to, I've integrated into my life. Yeah. What was the second question?
How has it influenced your creative practice?
Okay, so I started writing fiction again, which is humongous to me, because I've always really I've always kind of been on, I would teach drama or teach people how to do things, but I never allowed myself to be an artist. And I can do this, the writing that I'm doing now is incredible. So when I see a scene, it used to be in my head, write something that's gonna sound cool and be funny. And now I'm able to see the scene in which I'm writing, and then go, okay, what's the character gonna do? And I can be in it, noticing all the sensory experiences and how that character might feel, and notice little details, and I can go with the flow, and I'm comfortable with not knowing how it ends up. It's like the most beautiful thing. It's the most beautiful thing. Yeah. Any other questions? They don't have to be hard. Yeah. Yeah, so mindfulness is not a cure-all for everything. And I work with a lot of people who, I would say like a lot of people with ADHD, a lot of people with depression who are also seeing like a counselor or some other mental health person at the side. So I think that there is a connection, but it should always, like, it's not, like, see out could be great for a lot of people. For someone with ADHD, not always great, because that's how the mind is going anyhow, right? It's already, and that might be a little overwhelming. There could be a sensory overload. So you'd want to tailor the techniques, there's like 63, for the person, and also knowing what their happiness goals are. Like, why are you doing it? So I don't think it's a one fits, lots of connections. And I think the difference between mindfulness and counseling is that in counseling, if a thing comes up, you might want to search for the source of it. Why do you feel that? What happened? What's the story? And in mindfulness, as a coach, I'm like, I don't really care. Like, oh, you're having a pang? Let's get into the sensory details of it. And let's see if it expands, contracts, if it changes. And maybe we don't have to explore the story for everything to experience relief. Yeah, thank you. I love Art Beat. Yeah, I used to do a program where Art City would come to Art Beat. Yeah. Any other questions? Do we have time? Sorry, I'm taking over your job. Sorry. Yeah, Kristen. So you usually, like if someone is kind of not into it, the best way is to build your own practice and model it, because it's undeniably obvious when someone can keep their cool and everyone else is freaking out. And there's a lot of power in that. If you have a toxic boss, like, leave. Like, mindfulness isn't a Band-Aid that's like, oh, I'm gonna pretend I can't, right? And there are techniques, but they're really advanced. But if for a while you have to stay in that negative situation, you can try doing your own, like, anchor away techniques. So if a boss is coming at you and giving criticism, what you used to take in is like, oh yeah, I'm unworthy. The minute the unworthiness comes, you can be like, where am I feeling that? And can you tune into the now, right? So is it expanding? Is it contracting? Is it like, and be interested in the sensation, but you don't have to like ingest it and carry it around. I don't know, besides, like, if someone doesn't want to, I don't think you can push it, but I think you can model it to try and encourage it. Yeah. And I'm glad you're not there anymore.
That's all the time we have for questions.
Beautiful.
But thank you. Thank you so much, Kerri. Thank you. Such a great discussion. I certainly feel a little more grounded, a little more present, and I hope all of you do as well. So we look forward to seeing you at our Creative Mornings event in June at RRC Polytech with me, and love to see you be a regular part of our Creative Mornings community, because we certainly like to connect and inspire in new ways and kick off a Friday morning in just a fun and different way. So if you have anything to share with the Creative Mornings Winnipeg organizers, please drop us a note at winnipeg@creativemornings.com. We're also looking for event volunteers, so if you would like to, please approach one of us wearing the teal lanyard, and we would be happy to chat. So we invite you to stick around to chat with our speaker and others as you emerge into the rest of your day. Capture this moment as an opportunity to network and meet like-minded creative people. And have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the rest of this sunny Friday. The Creative Morning Winnipeg crew look forward to seeing you on June 17th. So thank you.